Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, your Greater Toronto Area real estate resource. I'm going to share with you what's happening in our current market. This article here states that there is more predictability than volatility currently in the marketplace. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and if you are considering buying or selling, call me as my customers get excellent service. Well, now let's look at this article together. They're actually claiming that buyers are acting like they did last fall. And last fall is when the continuous rate hike started to take place. So last year, in many ways, a little bit similar to this year, because last year what happened was there was obviously a lot of activity in early 2022 with prices being higher. And then what happened in early spring, late spring 2022 was that prices started to decrease. At the same time, the number of sales taking place each month was decreasing as well. Now this year we saw relatively high prices, you can say, back in June, back in May, and now what's happening is the market has been trending downwards, not only in terms of the average price, but of course in the number of transactions, the number of units that have been sold. And now the good news is that provided that you list your property and it's in the one of like the lower price ranges, there should be a lot of demand, and that's where we're seeing multiple offers take place. Now what's happening though is, of course, the higher end homes, especially like cottages or any property that would be purchased more so in like an appreciating market, that kind of property is taking either a long time to sell or they're coming down in price significantly. And one of the most common questions that I'm being asked from sellers is, when will the market come back? And maybe they're expecting that prices would come back to where they were back in early 2022 or even back in June 2023. And unfortunately, I don't see prices returning to where they were until at least 6 months. We're now looking at the end of the year. We're looking at being in the fourth quarter. And typically what happens is in the cyclical real estate market is that October, November, December, prices come down a little bit. November and December especially, prices are considerably lower, but at the same time, there is not a lot of inventory up for sale. So buyers may think, okay, I'm going to wait until December, prices are going to be lower because there's going to be less buyers in the marketplace. But what they have to understand is they wouldn't be able to actually buy probably the property which they like, because a lot of sellers just choose to take their property off the market during the holiday period. For most sellers, if they want to accurately price their property, they could take like what the property would have sold for back in May and June and just take off 5% from the price, and typically that's what's causing it to sell. And I'll keep in mind the fact that listings are taking longer to sell than prior. Now our average home is selling in 20 days, but that's what's reflected based on the data. I would say from being in the market every single day, it's more like 30 to 45 days. A lot of listings have to go through a price correction before being sold. Typically, if you have 10 showings and no offers, that's a sign that the market is telling you that your price is higher than market value. And this is another eye-catching article. They claim that Canadian business closures surge, and there's been the fewest business openings since lockdown back in 2020. And then they show this chart over here, and of course in June 2020 we can see the number of active businesses being at a low. Now where we are in June 2023, obviously it was higher, but it has now come down considerably. So there's a lot of questions about the market, not just real estate. Are we in a recession? Are we leading to a recession? A lot of people believe that interest rates are not going to actually drop. They may even increase. And really, it's been the adjustment of interest rates which has really been responsible for changing the market, making prices higher, making prices lower. Of course, the most surprising thing, which a lot of people don't take into consideration, but I certainly do from being in the market for over 10 years now, is that the number of transactions is at like a record-breaking low, because of the fact, like if we look at the number of transactions that take place each year, we can see back in 2021 how high the number was. Back in 2022 it was lower. Now we're looking at only 5,000 sales plus being reported on the MLS within the past couple months. It's not enough transactions. Of course, real estate is a big sector of the economy, and when buyers aren't active in the market, sellers aren't active in the market, it's going to affect construction. We're seeing that new home sales, they're not as high as they were back a few months ago. And what's worse is that we're not even seeing investors too active in this market, because they of course don't want to over leverage themselves with the higher interest rates. So there's a lot of deals out there, but where it makes sense to capitalize on some of these deals is, say if you're a purchaser that does have like a good steady income and they're maybe wanting to upsize because they can sell their property, maybe get $800,000, and then if they're buying something more expensive, that more expensive property has come down more considerably in price, and so they're able to further like minimize the gap between what they would sell for and what they would purchase for. Over here we're looking at different areas in the Greater Toronto Area and how much prices have increased or decreased within the past 12 months. So we're comparing August 2022 to August 2023. We can see Richmond Hill, the average price has increased the most by 9.33%, and what's decreased the most is properties in Toronto Central. They've come down by 4.85%. Now, why this has taken place is because of the fact that year over year, if we compare where we were last year to where we are now, what has come down more so than freehold properties are condo apartments, which is a big surprise to a lot of people. So for most areas, your typical like detached or semi or townhouse, they have increased in value over the past 12 months, but condo apartments haven't, which is a surprise because condo apartments, they at the same time, a lot of them are owned by investors and they're being rented out, and the rents have considerably gone up over the past year. But for most areas, you can see it's about neutral. The average price is pretty much where it was last year. Like for example, we can see Markham barely gone up, Ajax has barely gone up in value, Brampton there's a slight decrease, in Toronto East, that's like Scarborough and Highland Creek, and Toronto East, so that's anything east of Victoria Park, they haven't adjusted in value too much. If the interest rates were to increase any more, I think this would be a really bad sign for Toronto real estate as a whole, so hopefully they do come down. I personally can't see why the interest rates would increase any further. Should that happen, I think the real estate market would be affected in a profound way. And of course, I have a lot of sympathy for anyone that's purchased a property and now the interest rates have increased at a level to which they can no longer maintain that property because of the monthly expenses. So if you are considering selling your home, the good news is I can get you top dollar. I can get your home sold in the fastest amount of time with the least amount of stress. Make sure to call me. And real estate agents, if you're looking for a great brokerage, make sure to reach out to me to learn not only about EXP, but my mentorship within EXP, because you better believe that we are still doing transactions. We're the happiest agents you're going to find in town. Make sure to subscribe if you did get value from this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.